ask you a question. Do you think that the Virginia Lottery is the first lottery to exist here in Virginia? Yeah? No? Well, if you said no, then you are right. Lotteries go way back here in the Commonwealth, as I found out here at the Virginia Historical Society in Richmond.
Welcome to the Virginia Historical Society, Lady Luck. First, tell me, did we win anything?
Better luck next time. But I did hear that you have sort of hit the jackpot, metaphorically speaking, because you have some wonderful lottery treasures stored here.
We do have many historical lottery items that I think you might be interested in seeing.
Oh, well, I want to know about my history in Virginia, my family tree, so to speak.
Well, let's go up and see. Lady Luck, I'm sure you know, but lotteries have a long history in Virginia and in the United States in general. You know, before the days that states and counties could issue debt obligations, they would use lotteries to fund lots of things like internal improvements. Things like canals and roads and bridges were all funded by lottery proceeds back in those days. Many famous Virginians like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson organized and participated in lotteries.
Huh. Well, there's a lot of this I don't know because my mom, Dame Fortune, was kind of in charge back then. So this is really fascinating.
Well, let's learn more and let's go up to the archives.
So I'm here in the archives with Lee Shepard of the VHS, who's got some very old lucky treasures to show us. So Lee, tell us how lotteries in Virginia were used.
Well, lotteries in Colonial Virginia were associated with entrepreneurial or business projects, a good example being Jamestown itself. But then later they evolved over time and began to be used more for the public good, such as the development of internal improvements like roads and canals, and especially for education, such as the lotteries that were used to raise funds for the College of William and Mary, Hampton-Sydney, and also the University of Virginia.
So tell us about this George Washington lottery ticket.
Oh, well, the George Washington lottery ticket is associated with something that was fairly famous, something called the Mountain Road Lottery. And George Washington's interest in that was to raise funds to build a road across the mountains to the Warm Springs of Virginia, a health spa in which he had an interest. So George Washington was one of a number of founding fathers who were interested in using lotteries to raise funds. And if you have an original version of this ticket, of which there are only about a dozen known to survive, you've hit the jackpot yourself. We have a number of examples of lottery tickets from the early 19th century. Among them are these tickets that were issued for the Virginia Free Road Lottery to raise money to build a road that would not have tolls in Virginia. And I guess my personal favorite is this ticket that was actually issued by a group in Baltimore and called the Washington Monument Lottery. A lot of tickets were sold in Virginia to raise money for a monument to the memory of George Washington.
So I hear that Thomas Jefferson and some other important early Americans were really big supporters of lotteries. Tell us about that.
Well, I think it's probably well known that Thomas Jefferson got into deep financial debt, and he considered very near the end of his life having a lottery that would help him recover his funds, and he would use some of his property as prizes for that. Well, he died before they could institute the lottery, and his family never really was successful in that. But the fact that he was interested in it and would consider using it, in fact, the idea that lotteries were so much a part of life in early Virginia, used to raise funds both for personal interests and for the public good, is really significant to us as historians.
Well, Lady Luck, I hope we've shown you how understanding history can help us in our lives today. But before you go, I want to show you one more piece of recent Virginia history that I think you need to see.
My favorite chapter in Virginia history, right there.